He often tends to find himself lost in translation, but he's not soaking in the beautiful streets of Paris or asking directions to Christ the Redeemer in Rio. No, he's laying in his bed, the only light being the kaleidoscope patterns behind his eyes. He's lost in translation in himself, his brain and heart both screaming, while all he can do is smile and nod like a tourist and pretend he understands a sliver of the words being spoke. Always trying to find the perfect words in the perfect language for her, but when they're together, they don't need a language, or to make a sound. When they're together, he can't catch his breath. But that's just the cystic fibrosis. Though, when he has her, he wants to hold her in absolute silence, scared one of their words will give rise to a guilty Judas and her brain will finally march in like the Romans and drag her heart down the street by a noose, constrict it with a jagged crown of thorns, and deem thou a liar. She will shout her protests of true love, but stones from her doubt will be cast and break her beautiful jaw, silencing her. The king of reason will step out, her sick lover following close behind with 2 sets of chains, physical ones to restrain him and his oxygen to chain his lungs. They lock eyes as the king of lies begins to read her charges. A crime of passion. You say you love this man for all he is, yet I see nothing at all. You say you will love this man for all eternity, but the spark behind those eyes only holds a few more flickers. You say the most outrageous charge of all is that you're brave enough to watch him die. The crowd of conscience screams and boos. She glances up at the proud king through her blood-soaked vision, the world having become a lovely shade of crimson. Do you plead guilty to all the charges and admit that all spoken here today was truth, the king says. The world drowns out. The only other sound she can focus on is his heartbeat across the way before flashing the most radiant smile through the blood and dislocated jaw, along with a nod. So be it, the king roars. By my power, you shall watch him die. Alarms, coding, her eyes flash open as the blinding fluorescent lights of the ICU have cast an angelic hue over the chaos. The trial of her heart was a dream, but we are here now, at the end of the road for him. Was it a dream after all? No time to think. Nurses flood the room to sedate him, but he thrashes with the fury of a cornered lion. This is it. No coming back. Each cough he can feel the breath leave but never return. He feels his hands and feet tingle, burn, and then begin to numb. His breathing is no longer breathing, just adrenaline fumes for these last few moments, snapping each wire with a force like a gladiator breaking his chains, hearing the nurses screaming, "You'll die without those!" I'm already dead, he thinks. "Call security," another shouts. They'll never reach us in time. With one last display of strength, he tosses himself from the blood-riddled ICU bed and onto the cold floors. His stats are dropping rapidly. She picks him up and holds his fading spirit in her arms. He speaks for the last time. In your dream, you agreed that you loved me for all I am. What am I? Those would be the final words that escaped his lips. She laid her hand on his heaving chest, pounding up and down at an incredible rate, his body shaking violently and his eyes glazing over. He's going into shock. There's no time. She held him as close and as hard as she could, loaning a whisper into his ear for his journey into the next world. You are love, unconditional love. Love that was worth it all and changed me and the world. The shaking had stopped. His eyes wide but empty. Small rattles out of his throat. You were everything this world didn't know it needed. Now sail to where you and the ocean are one, and when the waves crash over me the next time, I'll know it's your embrace.